What's good, everybody? This episode of the podcast is sponsored by DistroKid. They are the go-to for digital music distribution and the easiest way for musicians to get their music onto Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, TikTok, YouTube, and more. They offer unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their earnings, getting your music onto platforms and into stores 10 to 20 times faster than any other distributor. They help with cover song clearance, automatic splits, and they offer all kinds of tools and templates to help you get the most visibility for your releases. I dig this company and appreciate their business model that offers more features and tools than any other distributor while doing it at the most affordable price for solo artists, bands, DJs, studio artists, and any other creators that are making music or producing music in their home, and they offer label services as well. They've got 3 different tiers that they offer to creators that start as low as $22.99 a year. That's just $1.92 a month. And even their top tier is only $7.50 per month. And the best part about DistroKid sponsoring the podcast is they are offering Dan Cable Presents listeners 30% off their first year of service with DistroKid, making their affordable prices even cheaper for you. I will put that discount link in the episode notes. It will also be in my Instagram bio. Big shout out to DistroKid for sponsoring this podcast for more than 3 years now. Much appreciated. Now let's get into the episode.
Look down at the
What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dan Cable Presents podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the program once again. If this is your first time listening, thanks for checking out the show. You can check out new episodes of the podcast on Tuesdays. And if you want to help support this thing in a free way, you can do so by clicking subscribe on iTunes, clicking write a review, giving the podcast 5 stars if you feel like it is deserving of so, and that will help propel this thing into the tops of those iTunes charts, giving it more visibility on the national and international levels, helping strangers find the podcast, and just a great way to contribute to the growth and sustainability of this thing. Appreciate the hell out of all the folks that have already taken the time to do so. If you're not listening on Apple, just hit like, follow, subscribe wherever you are listening from. Give it 5 stars on Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe there. You can check out other content on the Primetime Cable YouTube channel as well. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody is doing well out there. Stoked to get into episode 433 of the podcast. This week we've got Portland-based band Bendre The Giant on the cast. This band popped up on my radar maybe like 6 months ago. I saw a clip of their track Je m'appelle Ben, which is a song that we talk about in this conversation, and it just hooked me in right away. So I'm glad that got to jump on the mics with Ben, who started the project and fronts it, and whom a lot of the ideas for the songs come from, as well as one of the collaborators on the Bendre The Giant project and close friends, Dlos, who I'm glad was able to join us. He is just such a champion of Ben's music and his songwriting ideas. So the band just dropped a brand new single called Make It Stop, which we will feature at the end of the conversation. And they've got a recent EP and other tunes also available to stream wherever you listen to music. We talk a lot about the demos that started this project, which is up as a collection of tunes as well, and I encourage you to go check those out, because I think it's really cool to kind of get to hear the ideas maybe in their rawest form, and just the way that Ben initially recorded these things, and now how the band is working them out into these like fully fleshed out recorded versions. Is it's a cool evolution, and just I think cool insight into just Ben's process. All the links for Bendre The Giant will be in the episode notes. Keep up with them. Check out an upcoming live show of theirs. They are playing December 6th at the Get Down here in Portland, opening for Braxton Cook. And the following night, Big show here in Portland, December 7th. One of my best friends and favorite songwriters in the city, and the previous guest to this Bendre episode, Isabeau, has her album release show over at the Showdown, December 7th. It's going to be so rad, and we just encourage you to come out that night, grab a ticket. If you haven't, it's gonna be so killer. Special night. Appreciate you all tuning in. Let's get into episode 433 with Bendre The Giant, based right here in Portland, Oregon. And to kick off this episode, this is Je m'appelle Ben from the Bendre EP. Now let's do the damn thing.
I wish I was back in Paris, drinking wine with Vera, man, we couldn't care less. I'm living in Seattle now, where my family comes from. Afraid I'm gonna get shot while I'm getting dim sum. Help me, Lord, I wanna get away to a place where I can eat baguettes and drink all day. I guess I can do that here, but I like the accent there, and you can say cool stuff like Je m'appelle Ben, comment ça y va? Où sont les toilettes, je dois faire des caca. Je m'appelle Ben, comment ça va? Où sont les toilettes, je dois faire des caca. Je m'appelle Ben, comment ça y va? Où sont les toilettes, je dois faire des caca. Je m'appelle Ben, comment ça va? Où sont les toilettes, je dois faire des caca.
Saw a lot of Bendre The Giant written on the wall at the old Volcanic Pub when I was there a couple weeks ago.
Heck yeah, no, that's awesome.
How'd you like Volcanic Pub? That's a cool place.
Yeah, it's a cool spot.
Yeah. We're kind of from that area. We're from Redmond, or I went to high school in Redmond. Dlos is from Redmond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like 20 minutes from Bend.
Okay.
So yeah, we've only played that room once as Bendre, but it's changed a lot. It's a cool spot though.
We played it a lot when we were really young.
Yeah.
Like in our teenage years, probably 3 or 4 times, just in like high school bands and stuff, and yeah.
That was like the closest venue kind of to
Yeah, so, I
where
mean
you
sort
guys
of
were at?
closest like venue that doesn't just play either is a bar or country music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
But yeah, it's totally different. Like before it was a corner stage, like if we just look at that corner right there, it was
Oh,
a
really?
corner
Yeah.
stage. Now,
Pretty
as
rough.
you saw before, it's
Yeah.
a whole wall and
Yeah.
new owner and stuff. So
Yeah. So did you guys meet in high school?
Yeah. I grew up in Gresham, so pretty close
Okay.
to here. And then after freshman year, I moved up to Seattle for a couple years. Actually, for 1 year, my sophomore year in Bothell, and then moved down to Redmond where my mom was living. And we were in band and choir together, so that's how we met.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Stretching the vocals pretty early on,
Yeah.
doing choir stuff.
So actually, that was my first year in choir, like true choir.
Okay.
I had I've always been like a singer as a kid, and I used to do like, I guess you could say I was in choir as like in like kindergarten, like super early,
Yeah.
church choir type thing. And then I started taking lessons when I moved to Seattle from my dad's professor when he was going to college up there, a guy named Frank DeMero, who's like a pretty big jazz vocal, just name in the jazz vocal world,
Okay.
world for like scatting and stuff like that. So I did that for a year, and then when I moved down, I just wanted to do choir. They didn't have any jazz programs in Redmond because it's Central Oregon.
You just had like a big band.
We had a big band and a big choir.
Okay.
And then like a small ensemble, like I guess you would call it like advanced choir.
Yeah, like the show choir
Okay.
type thing.
Yeah. So that's how we met. I was in percussion. I'm originally a drummer. And he was a baritone player.
I played euphonium.
Yeah, euphonium. Yeah.
What is euphonium?
It's like
Yeah.
a tiny tuba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has the same range as like a trombone all the way down to tuba.
I'll bring it up on the screen for anybody actually watching the
This is a
episode.
euphonium right now.
It's got like
Just put it right in your
four-
hands.
Yeah.
it's got, like 4 valves instead of 3 or something like that. And it's,
Yeah, we could get into that, but
Was it? Did you feel like it was always kind of singing over everything though, even when you were exploring drums?
No, actually, I mean, I only really got into singing and like writing lyrics like 3 years ago or 4
Okay.
years ago when I started doing this music. Before that, I was a drummer, like almost full time. Not full time, but that's all I ever did musically was drum, and I would sing as like a pastime. But
Okay.
once I got into choir and we were starting to do like the advanced choir, and we were starting to do like competitions, is when I was like, oh wow, I could actually maybe do something with this. But yeah, I did like metal drums with my brother. Me and my brother were in like a just garage band
Cool.
for quite a while, and so I did that. I did jazz drums in high school because they had a little jazz band ensemble.
yeah.
So we did that, and then me and Dlos did a little trio band, or actually it was like 4 people, called Debt, like right after high school, which was just like jazz. We would just play at our the cafe we worked at, so it was an easy gig.
Your classic, just like high schoolers playing and jamming songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a
To no
jam band.
avail. Yeah.
Yeah,
Showing everybody how many notes you can play.
Yeah, exactly.
but every once in a while we would whip out like "Ain't No Sunshine" or like "Them Changes" by Thundercat and do like I would sing on it. And,
Okay.
and so that's kind of where I first, I guess, took the stage as a singer. And then after that, he started going to U of O, moved to Eugene. I moved up to Seattle to help my dad with some medical stuff he was going through, and just ended up living there and started working on music. I just like bought a MIDI keyboard
Okay.
and just kind of started messing around with music.
Is that kind of what we hear on like the first instrumental record, and then
Yeah.
also the record full of demos?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that first instrumental record is kind of just like everything I was working on for like 6 or 8 months, and I just kind of didn't have really a rhyme or reason to it, and it was just stuff I threw up onto Spotify because I had found out about DistroKid, so it was super cheap, and I was like, oh shit, I can actually get my music on like Spotify.
And it's even cheaper if you use the Dan Cable Presents discount code over
Yeah,
there
bleep
at
that.
DistroKid. It is in the episode notes.
Yes. So yeah, they've been great. Super helpful as far as like getting music out there and
Yeah.
actually sharing music in a way that people can see. But yeah, so that first album of like beats
Yeah.
I made, and then I just started like the first song I made was called Funky Boy.
Yes.
And the lyrics are just, I don't write lyrics. That's the whole song, is like me saying, I don't write no lyrics. And so like, I slowly started like, finding my voice, and as far as like songwriting, finding my writing pattern and kind of figuring out what I wanted to say, and slowly over the course of like this first EP we did and this second EP we're working on and almost done with, all those songs they've been like developed. Fuck, I like lost my train of thought.
They were from the demos.
Yeah, they were all
Yeah.
demos, and I started like, so there's certain songs like Nobody Knows or like Homeless.
Yeah.
Those are like where I was actually had something to say, and I kind of came, or I probably shouldn't be here, which is like was really a kind of just exactly what I was feeling at the time. Everything I say in that song, which is a lot of my music is just very don't wake me in the morning. I think I wrote that like after being woken up by my mom or something like that. So it's like
Very literal.
very literal songs a lot of the time. But once I figured out I like had something to say is when I started, really writing music and not just being like a beat maker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first thing I heard of the Bendre The Giant music was the demo version of I'm gonna fuck up the name, but the Je m'appelle
Oh, Je m'appelle Ben, yeah.
That demo version, I mean I like the version you guys put on the EP too, but There's something about that demo version that has like such a cool energy to it, and just like kind of instantly fell in love with your lyrics and your like delivery of them, and just like maybe the mundane things that you were talking about, like getting dim sum, and just the way that you placed things like grabbed me right away, and I wanted to like listen to more of the music.
That's sick. Yeah, I wrote that song like right after coming back from a Europe trip, and so, and all, you know, if you speak French, the little French part is saying, my name is Ben, how are you doing? Where's the bathroom? I need to take a shit.
That's amazing, dude.
And that's quickly become like the fan favorite. I feel like whenever we're playing shows, everybody likes that song.
That's the first one we worked on. I mean, the whole thing of the EP was like, he moved back like in with me in Eugene, and I really wanted to play his stuff, and so did Eli, who plays bass with us. And I was like, dude, we should play Je m'appelle Ben, like, because it's just such a bop.
Yeah.
And then we arranged it out, and we're just like, oh my god, this is the most incredible song.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still like one of my favorites to play live.
Yeah, that's funny.
It can be repetitive, you know, for any artist to be like, oh shit, okay, let's play Je m'appelle Ben. But for me, I love it because it's just so dorky, but also is like so good, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. What about his tunes that like made you want to? I mean, I know you guys had made music prior to the Bendre the Giant project, but like, what about the songwriting intrigued you, or like grabbed you and made you want to invest time into it?
So, I went to school for music, and I heard many things that I had like gone for, like harmonically, or like that I had really kind of latched onto in other music worlds.
Yeah.
In Ben's music, and he would never, to my ear, like fully grab the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like right there on the cusp, and then I would be like, oh, Ben, I think I know what you're going for. Like, we would just sit down and be like, is this kind of what you meant? And I would play it, and he'd be like, yeah, that's totally what I meant. Like, that is the sound. So from there, I was like, let's fucking go through as many tunes as we can. Yeah. Same thing with our bassist Eli. He arranged a lot of them too.
Yeah.
And let's just see where we can do with this. And also for me, it's like, I love Ben. He's been my best friend for many years, and it was just kind of the place in life that we were at. And I was like, you know what? This music's good. We need to play it, type thing.
Yeah.
He assembled all the guys through school and stuff like that. I think just by asking him. They, you know, I don't even know if they had heard of my music until we kind of met as a band, other than Eli and Nate.
Yeah.
But I think like Ben and Avery were just excited to be a part of the project, and then slowly have kind of grown into their positions of like not just players, but like, oh, like we're gonna add a whole section to a song that we wouldn't have done because, you know, that's what Avery hears, you know, and so let's listen to it, and then we all like it, and so it's becoming more of a collaboration and less of just like a called players, you know, calling a player to come play with us. And so it's developed quite a lot in the last year. We've only been a band, you know, it's a year, I think, like
a year on the 22nd.
Yeah, so it's been a quick process,
but leaving room for other people to write parts so they like feel a little more invested in it, or just because you trust them to make the right decisions with the songs.
Yeah, and I think also like another thing for me was I just really wanted to play it, and I don't think Ben had seen his music written out before. Or I don't think the concept of like we have other things that didn't pan out just logistically. Like we have string arrangements, we have big band. Like I've written a big band arrangement of his song "You'll Be Okay," and the cool thing for me was like, oh, cool, I can write a big band chart of this. And then the second cool thing is seeing how Ben reacts to like literally seeing a score of his music.
Yeah,
like that's cool. So it's just like those type of things that I feel like were brought into the table. That's been super fun.
Yeah, it's also like weird because we come from completely different like schools of thought in a way, because I am all like, I just got a keyboard. I never really played piano, but I just kind of learned from messing around and, I'm obviously a music lover. I've, been ever since I was a little kid listening to music and listening to Chicago and Earth, Wind and Fire and these like funk, soul and stuff like that. And so, I have like a home garage,
interface
and like that's my thought process.
Yeah.
And then I have, a group of musicians that are like school taught and they can like take what I thought was, it's just a beat or, like this is a cool like switch. I'll have like, a cool little drum switch and then they like write it out and it's something that I just didn't understand it until, don't understand your own music until someone writes it out for you.
Yeah.
Right. And like, not that the school thing matters. It's just that like we were able to bring in our perception of what it is and assemble it to someone who just didn't kind of know that world was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that's always the cool things in those scenarios is like, Ben, you're probably going to do some shit on your keyboard that maybe someone with like a bunch of music theory behind them wouldn't do because
True,
it's like maybe not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But maybe you end up with something that has like such a cool feel to it because of that, because of like your ignorance to the instrument or what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, I like write, even the way I write songs too, and like, I just write what would be like like Missing You or something like that, which is like has this weird like polyrhythm on the keyboard.
Yeah.
And like the amount of like verses that then lead up to a chorus isn't, or the amount of like measures or like the forms that I do are just unusual because I'm not coming from like I've never been told, or taught that this is the way to format a song and like how to like, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, out, And I'm learning that now and helping, and that's kind of influencing some songwriting stuff, but also, just having that like instinct that I want to like, I like how long this goes and I like the idea that like maybe that throws off the listener because it's like new and weird.
Yeah. Like I'll say like, I think all your instincts are right. And I think they're super like, they make sense. That's like the main reason or one of the main reasons I was like, oh, we can do something with this because it all makes total sense and it's all going for like newer ideas rather than the 4-bar chorus, 4-bar whatever, yada yada. Like you make them fit musically or harmonically and you don't really know that until you're like shown that or whatever, yada yada. Like, it's sick. I think it's great. Yeah. You can hear it in the demos versus the EP. Yeah. It's like I don't think like, any form is truly different besides if there's like a solo or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like Jim Appel Ben is a good example of that because it's like verse, chorus, like solo section, I guess.
Yeah.
And then chorus.
Yeah.
And then like B section where
interlude thing.
Yeah. Like does a little interlude and then it goes into like this completely different kind of groove.
Yeah.
Which originally was a completely different beat that I just had made that was kind of like this plunky little like synth sound that was like pyong 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 and then I had like this like do 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 do. I made that little bass line. And then I was working on Jim Appel Ben and I like literally like made a bounce of that little beat and cut it down and then just put it on the track for Jim Appel Ben and it just like worked perfectly. So.
I think the other thing you should say is how you recorded these. Like, it's pretty crazy. When he told me, I was like, oh, that makes more sense, but also like still how,
Yeah, I just recorded these with like at first I just had like a Shure SM57, just like a stage mic.
Okay.
And then I got a Rode NTA1, I think, for Christmas because I asked for it. I just was like, I need this. This is way too expensive for me. I can't buy this shit. But if everybody in my family could go in on this, that'd be great. And they did. They bought me this nice, pretty nice for home studio mic. And then I just recorded that in like open room in my apartment. It's just that, no like booth or anything, and I would just like throw reverb on it. Yeah. And I don't have a true DAW. I got Ableton Lite with my MIDI keyboard, and so pretty much everything until now has been made on 8 tracks that I had to then bounce, and then 7 tracks, and then
you're making it like you're working with tape or something. It's like
very
crazy.
weird.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that like forced you to be more
Right.
creative in certain ways because of the limitations
Definitely.
of the DAW?
It was helpful and also just really frustrating. I mean, it's like infinitely better to be able to now like go to John's house and then do 80 different tracks. And also your computer is not like, because I just had my
Gaming laptop.
First it was my hand-me-down mom's work laptop. And so it was like I would have piano and drums going, and I would see my like, the, what is it called, the CPU meter is like going to like 75. And so then I got a gaming laptop because I was told like, well, if you get a gaming laptop, they're good for like CPU,
Yeah.
Or they can also be music computers.
They have the processing power and all that. Yeah.
So I basically made all those demos on that, and it was still that after I got to I would use Arturia plugins, and they would just use so much power that I would like be peaking with 2 tracks. So,
but that's the cool thing. Like the demos to me are like, I wouldn't have known that you had 8 tracks because it sounds like there's like 30 or something on there. You just did a good job of like mixing, and then like the Beatles or something on an 8-track, putting that recording of that onto a new track. Now you have 7 tracks left.
Yeah.
And there's little things that like made it, kind of made the song like that because of the limitations. Like nobody knows like the way a beat switches to like go down an octave. Like it goes from, it key changes and slows down.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason it does that is because the only way I knew how to like slow down audio was to like turn off warp and then drop like I don't even know what it's called, but you just like turn this little meter left and it like chunks down and expands it and slows it down, but it also changes the octave. I had no idea how to like actually do an octave change. I just was like, that's works.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Same with like Missing You, the intro to Missing You. Like we were working on it, and Eli was like, I want to have like I like the way this like kind of like reverse sound happens in the beginning because I want to like sample that for the new one. And the only reason that was there was because when I was making Missing You, that like was putting out like so much CPU that it was like clipping every time I bounced it. So I had to like cut the intro, take a little bit from the a little farther on, and then reverse it and like make a little like rhythmic sound. If you play it right now, like the demo of that, you'll hear it. It's like whoop up but
Yeah.
And that's only because I had to like it would be that, or it'd be like because of this like weird clipping sound. So
And that's the rhythm on the EP.
then, so now like the rhythm has changed because of that.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's amazing. I do feel like that's like the magic.
Yeah, it's weird little things
happening.
Take from me. Take from me. I don't know where I'm going from here, but I think you're gonna know being here. I don't know where I'm going from here, but I think that you're gonna be.
Because everything was made like that, Dlos, is it like a challenge for you at times to like figure out the arrangements or like how to translate these demos now into these full band songs?
I don't know. I would say no, because I went into it like transcribing,
Okay.
basically. I was like let's see, let me think of one I did. I think I did Gemma Pell Ben. Kind of hard to remember. Eli did like 3 and I did 3.
Okay.
But like Gemma Pell Ben, I just remember sitting down and getting a piece of paper and being like, all right, here's the form that I hear. Here's the melody. I wrote it like a lead sheet and then wrote it out from there type thing. Just straight up transcribing what the demo was. And then I think it's just him and I being like, oh, what if we did this?
Yeah.
Or it's like, let's try adding this. Another one, I did Don't Wake Me, which is on the new EP. That sounds totally different than the demo. And that was just like, oh, we want like Chicago horn vibes on this. We want nasty, dirty piano. We want a groove and bass line and everything. So we took the bones of the tune. We took the melody. We took all the lyrics, everything like that, and transcribed it out, added a guitar solo at the end, and then me and my friend Andrew Shoup, who's an excellent horn arranger, we wrote horn parts to it. And then we kind of just made our parts up sitting at the piano. Or Eli. Like, I never tell Eli what to play on bass because he's just as ingrained into the music as we are. He knows the bass line. Yeah. He'll just come and fucking play it and lay it down, and then I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Here's this horn part. You think you can match it? Yeah, there's a part, And
you're coming at all of this as a keys player primarily?
Yeah, I play bass too. But,
okay.
Yeah, I'm a pianist, keys player. That's like the thing I went to school for.
Yeah.
But I'm also like a composer and arranger.
Yeah.
That's what I got my master's in. So it's just a lot of ear training, just a lot of transcribing I've done throughout my life. Actually, I got a lot of practice transcribing Bendre songs because I'm transcribing a whole song rather than like somebody solo,
Yeah.
Which is super fun.
There's nothing to go from it either. It was just like,
Yeah, I just would sit down and
listen to it and, do it all by ear.
Yeah. I mean, I can like recall we're in the living room and Ben is working on something, doing something, and I have my Beats headphones on and I'm just like zoning out, listening to it, and I'm like, I'll look at him. Oh yeah, okay, and I'll write it down, type thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like with them, a lot of this, almost everything we do as a band is all like in-house. It's like either just the 3 or 4 of us, and like we just do it in a day. Like the Missing You Horns, which is this big written out, section. And same with Make It Stop. We both did those. We just him, Shoup, our friend, and I just sat and spent 2-3 hours, mostly them writing it out while I would come in and out and listen to what they were working on and
like come sing,
give some notes or just be like, I like this, or and then that night we had all the horn players just come to our house, and so the Missing You Horns are just recorded in our house at the time.
That
no
was
soundproofing, no anything.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, you talk about magic recording moments. That was one for me.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah,
it was
really cool.
literally like I was like, what? We need like samba horns or something on here. And Ben was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I just call Shoup. He's always eager to be a part of something, which is really cool. And I call him, we write it. I was like, I think we can get this recorded today. We called Eli. Eli's a great engineer, too, studio engineer. Called Eli, set up the mics in the studio, a.k.a. our living room, with zero soundproofing and just like reverberating walls and stuff. It's classic bachelor pad. There's a TV and 2 couches in this big living room. And we recorded the whole thing that night. Yeah. And people just stayed, gave them some beer or something. They were all down for it.
Yeah.
And it sounds fucking sick. I mean,
Ben, what's it been like? As I mentioned before, I feel like those demos have such a cool energy to them. Has there been any struggle for you when it comes to recording the vocals for these more fleshed out versions, as far as like finding what you did in those demos, or do you try not to like think about it too much?
It's a mix. I mean, my voice has like developed a lot in the last. I mean, I wrote a lot of those songs. Like Je m'appelle Ben came out in like 2022, I think.
Yeah.
And some of those songs even early, like Make It Stop, I think came. I don't know. Some of them are like 2021. A lot of this was I was working on it during COVID and stuff. So might have even been earlier for some of them. But it's been challenging because I'm learning now like how to sing out more, I guess, and like what that sounds like in comparison to me literally recording some of those vocals at like midnight in an apartment.
Yeah.
So I was really trying not to wake up either my partner at the time or my, next door neighbors or something like that. So now that I'm able to sit in a studio and like belt, and see what that sounds like and what that what I can get out from that. I mean, I'm able to do things now that I was definitely not able to do back then. And I don't really go at it thinking like, how can I do this differently necessarily, but how can I fit the theme of the song more, or like with I Probably Shouldn't Be Here. When we did that, it was like a really laid back kind of like I wanted it to be a calmer, chiller song. We kind of referenced that's something Melancholy Hill by the Gorillaz, kind of like a vocally like not just very simple and calm, and just because it's kind of a sad song in the way that it's talking about I probably shouldn't be here. And but then we did songs like Missing You, where I would like do that whole waiting on the other side, which is is way different than what I did on the original. That whole section on the original was just kind of was a lot more R&B.
Yeah.
And then we kind of made it more funk and like, I guess, like
kind of like soul.
Soul and so I don't know. It's been fun and it's been a cool learning process. And I don't know. Maybe you can speak to my changes as far as, especially like performing. When our first couple shows, I was like, Jamopel, man, very shy.
Yeah.
And now I'm like dancing and going crazy.
Yeah.
I think the only thing to speak to is that you've always been, at least to me, I've known you for so many years, you've always been one of the most natural musicians that I know, and you've always been a performer. It's just getting it out of you.
Yeah.
So like in the studio, we have a song where Homeless sounds totally different than the demo that you hear. The demo has the like noir type vibes, and the new one, not to give like too much away, but it has the noir type vibes, but then it gets heavy at the end, like
really
super heavy.
Yeah.
And to me, I imagine that song is like when Kanye sprints up and down at Madison Square Garden on the stage now. It's like just sprinting at it. And I was like, let's try and capture that. And it took no more than just like one take of you just kind of settling into it, and then boom, you're in it.
Yeah.
Like, for the studio, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen one show, Mississippi Pizza, but
The best
I was
show.
like really taken by your stage presence as well. Like I felt like it matched the energy and the what I liked about what you do lyrically and vocally was like matched by your presence.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's also different. Like each stage, I feel like we have different energy sometimes, because like that show was that was our first time doing a tour setup, because we were doing our first little tour, and so we were playing with in-ear monitors. We couldn't really hear ourselves, and it was a new venue, and it was but it was fun. And I mean, I feel like every time we play, we get better, and we kind of like fall into our positions a little more and understand like what sound is good and what really gets the crowd going. And it's been a cool process for sure.
Yeah, as far as like that stage performance, where do you feel like you're at with it right now? Like, do you feel like you can get up there and be pretty present, or is there still like a lot of like thought that is happening in real time when you're up there?
It's a mix. I mean, it's like the first two songs I'm always in my head. I feel like no matter where we are, but by about like midway through the set, I feel very comfortable and I'm able to just kind of be myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always kind of like strive to do more on stage, because I still feel like reserved, and there's 6 of us a lot of the time, so it does get really tight, and so there's some times where I'm kind of butting elbows with Ben Harris, our sax player. So like when we have a big stage, and it's like when we were at Volcanic, I was able to kind of like go all over the place and
the Kanye sprint.
Like go on the front speakers and like really get up against the audience and like feel that energy. And so like that's really fun, and I want to do that more. But it's kind of just like finding that place, and also getting out of your head is just something that you learn to do after doing it. After playing so many shows, and now like I think we just said this is our 30th show this week or something like that for this year.
Yeah.
And as of this is our
No, we've played 30 shows.
Yeah.
This will be our 31st.
Our 31st show, and this is our first year as a band, so we've gotten a lot of experience in a short amount of time of like how to be a band. We played the same set for that 30 shows pretty much, so it's like we've really honed in that experience, and I think it'll only get better from here on out.
Getting those reps in, taking bumps.
Oh yeah, that's right. Taking bumps. We got a wrestling fan over here.
Yeah.
Dude, don't get me started.
I know the lingo.
Yeah.
Also, I do feel like it's one of my favorite band names. Like it feels,
dude.
it feels like
it's his dad,
so
Andre
cool.
the Giant.
That's the lore, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I had that username on Instagram since like 2017.
It's amazing.
And just was like, Bendre the Giant. And then for a very short period of time, at the end of like 2023 or 2022, I changed my name to Boy Kathy for no reason other than I thought it was catchier, and like I was just selling my soul and being like, this will be more popular for some reason, even though it was a horrible name. And then switched it back as soon as I was like, we were talking as a band. We were like, we need to switch it back. That's a horrible name. Bendre the Giant actually like means something.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a big person, but also like I grew up with Fezzik and all these Bendre the Giant, or sorry, Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Things. So,
Yeah.
Papa.
Yeah. And I, surprisingly do look like him a little bit. My long curly
You look
hair.
like Andre the Giant in the 70s when he
Yeah, when
would
he
wear
was a hunk.
suits and
You
shit like that.
gotta start coming out on stage in the singlet, in the singlet and the boots, dude. That'd be fucking incredible, dude. That'd be so amazing.
See, that's why we wanted to play a Halloween show, is because I could do something like that. I feel like
Don't wait for Halloween.
Yeah.
It would
I'm
be
gonna
weird.
encourage you now. Never wait for Halloween.
I'm gonna look like Danny DeVito in Always Sunny, Trash Man.
Oh, that'd be so amazing. It's cool to find out that you started on drums, and maybe that's like attributes now knowing that why I like your vocal delivery so much. Do you feel like, whether consciously or subconsciously, that undoubtedly has played into the way that you deliver your lyrics over beats and rhythms, like that is kind of just a part of your lens?
Yeah, I don't know if I consciously do it necessarily, but like, even when I think of like Gemma Pelban or something like that, like I play similarly. When I the way I use cymbals is a lot of the times the way I use my vocals. I feel like, so yeah, it's like I would definitely take that into account. I don't know. It's just it's one of those things that I don't really think about when I'm writing. Like I just listen to this beat and I'm like, this would be a cool melody over it. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's I guess
Ben is a killing drummer. I mean, no, he really is. He doesn't give himself enough credit. I played with so many drummers and played with the best drummers that you can think of around the area. And Ben is one of my top 3 favorite to play with, just because he listens and he has a great ear and he just evolves with you, and it's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's one
killing
thing.
Drummer.
Is I think having a good ear and listening is one of the most important things, not just as a drummer but as a musician, and figuring out how to find your space without stepping on toes. And that was a big part of me just making these beats and stuff, and building layers and stuff, was building layers on a song in a way that doesn't just sound like 8 instruments playing at once. And it was a weird journey to go from, I'm going to play a keyboard and then I'm going to play what sounds like maybe a guitar sound, and then I'm going to throw down the bass and the drums. And I would do that all layer by layer. Either I would do a whole song like that, or I would just do a chorus like that, and then I would cut it and edit it. And now when we're developing new songs, I have 6 guys that I can say, oh, I don't need to sit down and make a part. I can trust them to come up with something that I know I'll like. And if I don't, then I can trust that I can talk to them about it and we can come up with something together that we both like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you felt
especially for keyboard. Yeah.
that whole process like helped you with your listening skills then, having all that alone time to make music and add and remove layers when needed.
Yeah. I think it kind of...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, just from an outsider perspective, I think just being around so much more music than you've ever been around, like just going out to see it, playing with people, being around, you have learned so much. And I feel like every time you are in a room or situation where there's something, you just like pick it up and learn it, which I think is super cool. I think that's helped your development a lot.
I mean, a lot of the reason I wanted to do this music and in the first place was like started going to live music a lot more right before COVID and then right after COVID. So the first show I saw before COVID was Thundercat up in Seattle, and I just wanted to, every time I would see a concert, I would enjoy it and have fun, but I was always in the back of my head like, I should be on stage. This isn't, I'm seeing the wrong perspective right now. And so I would start working on music and never felt, and even to, this day, I still feel like, a lot of the reason why this music is good is because of the 5 people that are accompanying me.
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to be a part of a musical community again, which I wasn't for so long. Since I'd moved up to Seattle, it was like from 2019 to 2023. And so being able to then move to Eugene and like twice or 3 times a week going to see a jazz show or, or just a show, a friend's, college band, and being able to experience more music and realizing that this was the world I wanted to be a part of, really helped, I think, develop our music now as well and how we go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel like, I'm sure it's like still developing as you're, still kind of early on in your lyric writing.
Yeah.
But like, what do you feel like has like impacted your style of storytelling or like the way that you like to deliver lyrics? Like whether that's like other people that you've listened to in the past or just, I don't know, what is maybe compelling to you to share?
Yeah, I don't know. At first, it was kind of just what I was feeling immediately, and I was unfiltered, trying to like rhyme what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And but now it's been more of like, what is the story that I'm trying to say? What am I actually trying to talk about in this song, and how can I use that for something more than just, I really wish I was back in a place I'm not, or something that's still is like useful and has its meaning in a place, but also like I think everybody has, either gone through a lot or has done a lot of things and they have things to say and they don't know how to say it. And I think a lot of it has been just listening to music as well and learning from, R&B and soul.
Right.
And jazz, a lot of, Sarah Vaughan and stuff like that, how they tell a story with not only their lyrics, but the way they sing.
Yeah.
And I think it's just trying to find your own voice, just, I think by repetition and by like, I'll make a song and I'll sing over it with like 5 different versions of what I think it could sound like, and then listen back to that and figure out which one I like the best. But a lot of it is trial and error, and also just saying stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then like saying dumb shit into the mic, screaming into the mic, or, figuring out things that you might like. But a lot of my, like, I think best lyrics have come from, I will write for days and I can't come up with something, and I'll sing on the mic and I'll ramble and ramble and ramble until I'm actually like at the brink of like, I'm tired and this is what I'm feeling. This is actually it, and this is how to like kind of make it make sense.
You have to like tire yourself out so much that you finally like say the thing that you meant to say originally.
Kind of, yeah. It's like getting in an argument with yourself and then you come back the next day to say the right thing because you're like, fuck, I fucked up. I should have said this instead.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like taking those vocal lessons
presented like a pretty big shift, or like opened your eyes to stuff you weren't seeing before as well? Or
Yeah, I'd never taken. I mean, my mom is a vocal. She teaches vocals and she teaches piano. My parents are both really talented musicians, and so I always grew up with like music, and we always had a piano in the house, and we'd always sing with. My sister would come in the room and be like, "Hey, let's all learn,
Let's harmonize to this.
let's harmonize." Yeah, literally would do that. And
what we do at the house too.
yeah, and all of us, me and my two brothers would just be like, I don't want to do that, But when I moved to Seattle, I was really wanting to focus and kind of just work on music more. Because, I was only like 15 at the time. But I met, when I started meeting and working with Frank, I figured out that I like wanted to do jazz as opposed to other music, especially at that time, because it was just so different and so expanding to me versus what I was listening to on the radio. And being able to listen to like old music and feel like so new about it, and feel like it was just bringing up so many new feelings and really expanding my mind. And then as a vocalist, I think learning how to scat at a young age is really important, because it like gives you the tools to freestyle basically, or just go off and figure out what sounds nice. And I can't play an instrument, but I can
like replicate the sound.
But I can replicate the sound of what Oscar Peterson's playing, by just doing some sort of something. And so doing that, I mean, I learned like 4 songs over the course of a year, like only 4 songs, and really practiced them, and did a like a showcase or whatever you call it,
like a recital or something?
With him and his other students, and then moved to Redmond. So I think that kind of it gave me this idea of like, okay, like how do I've always been a big rap fan, like hip hop fan, and so learning how to freestyle in a way that's not like verbal, I guess it's more just like vocal. And that also just taught me how to come up with melodies, I think. And I would listen to some beat or random piano part being played, and I could come up with what I think would sound like a nice melody.
Yeah. You think it was like also helpful in teaching you not how to walk all over the song as well? Like choosing your spots. And
I remember there was a big thing that he would talk about was space is really important when you're, whatever you're playing. Unless you're like the backbone, of the group. Like if you're just playing bass, playing drums, you got to be there. But space as a vocalist is really important, and finding like effective space, and not just. I mean, there's something to going Eminem on everything and like not stopping talking. There's something cool about that too, and there's worth in that. But also in something like Sarah Vaughan, where she like spreads out this what should be 5 lyrics over a 1 measure, and she'll make it 2 measures just because she finds a way to fill that space and make you like want to hear what's coming next, or not knowing what's happening, and then it kind of brings you into that flow again.
Yeah,
something that can really be. It grabs the viewer, the listener.
Absolutely.
Best Sarah Vaughan record that I like the most is she does. It's just called The Music of the Beatles. She does a bunch of Beatles songs.
I wish it wasn't Beatles songs actually, and it was just called that. That would be amazing.
Music of the Beatles.
Music of the Beatles, dude. That's your next record.
Yeah,
there you go.
In the singlet. I'm not familiar with Sarah Vaughan. I have homework to do now.
Yeah, check her out.
Great.
Cool.
Start with her early stuff, obviously, but that's a good record. Like she does something, something in the way she moves.
Yeah.
And she literally goes, something in the way she moves, like through the whole thing. But the band is grooving, and it's like the most killing use of phrase that you can have. it's super cool.
Yeah.
I think like the best example of that for me is my favorite song by her is When Sunny Met Blue, or When Sunny Gets Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it normally is just like, when Sunny gets blue, his eyes get blue, but she does this like, when Sunny gets blue, his eyes get gray and cloudy, and she does this like the space she brings to the song makes it emotional, and it makes you. It's same with like Chet Baker, for me, where he like, I get along without you very well. It's like sad, and it like
Yeah.
you can feel it because he's taking little spaces and yeah, things like that I think can be way more impactful than just like spitting out everything you're feeling. Like kind of is what I probably shouldn't be here is I'm just like nonstop like, this is how I'm feeling, I'm not gonna stop talking about it. And then you know, something like Missing You, I guess, would be more thoughtful, and it's simple, super simple lyrics, but it's just like play the way you place them, I guess.
Yeah.
I think You'll Be Okay is a good example of
Or
that.
You'll Be Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's like very clearly like, we don't talk much these days. Space. Won't even look my way. Space.
Yeah.
While it's just like, doom, 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 like just grooving behind it, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool how much vocal delivery can change things, especially with like maybe a song you're familiar with. Like,
Yeah.
We don't talk much these days. You won't even look my way. So save that shit you'll say. I don't think I'll stay. But you'll be okay.
so obviously you had like all of those demos, which you've like some of them have become like developed into these more fleshed out songs now. But at this point, is there moments where the two of you are just like sitting in a room and writing music together instead of you just bringing the bones of something?
Yeah, the new, I mean, pretty much, I don't know, it's like half and half, I guess. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that I just will go and, like at 2 a.m., I'll just sit in my
Right.
room and make music. But then Dlos will be like, I mean, we'll just jam. I'll be sitting on the drums and he'll be sitting on the
Yeah.
piano. And we'll play and he'll come up with something. And then we're like, ooh, this could be a Bendre song or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So there's like 2 or 3 songs right now that have been like that.
The rest is so far like, I know he has again like another 2 or 3 songs that he's basically demoed out himself just on the computer, and
Cool.
it's like, okay, cool, when those are ready, let's sit
Yeah.
down and work it out
Yeah.
with everybody too. I think is the cool thing. It's like, I think our goal on the record, if I'm correct in assuming, is like, before it was either me and him or Eli on his own kind of listening to stuff and bringing it to us.
Yeah.
Now I think we're trying to get all of us in the room together and like arrange these tunes out.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a little beach house planned. So we're trying to get, all of us
beach
in a
trip.
room and do a little creative couple days and try to, I just want to hear everybody's voice and like figure out why, there's a reason we're in a group and I don't
Yeah.
want to just make music
Right.
by myself, and there's a reason I joined this band, and so I want to just hear everybody and hear their ideas and bounce stuff off each
Yeah.
other, and yeah.
Well, I think it's cool if you can have both also, where
Yeah.
like you still have your alone time to maybe
Mhm.
like explore things, and that's obviously like produced good things
Yeah.
thus far.
Yeah.
So like not losing sight of that, but also
Yeah.
having the option to like form things together and like really get to flesh things out more
Right.
as a unit
Yeah.
also makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think like in general the lyric writing will always be me,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
I think there's some times where it's helpful. And I mean also I think, every good band has a song written by somebody that's not the main guy,
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily want to have like a Beatles approach where every song is a different one of us writing a song, but like I just like the idea that, I mean, me and Dlos have written lyrics together, and the second verse of Don't Wake Me is a collaborative, verse. There are certain things that I think cater to having collaboration, but
Yeah.
then I think there's also certain things that are like, this is your experience, you should talk about it.
Yeah,
Like there's
absolutely.
a song Family Matters that I'm working on, not to spoil too much, but it's very much more about like us, my life and my history with my family,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that wouldn't make sense to have somebody else help writing,
Yeah. Features
So-
Carl Winslow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Urkel is on it.
Urkel's
it
on it,
samples
yeah,
the theme
because-
song. That'd be
yeah.
so sick.
It actually
dude.
starts with "Did I do that?"
Yes.
That's awesome.
Well, the thing is I wanted to make the music video like the intro of Family Matters, so that will be that'll be the connection.
That'd be amazing,
Yeah.
dude. Hell yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, with like Make It Stop, the collaboration is like, which is Make It Stop comes out this next Friday.
Which, if you're listening
Came out.
to this, it's
Couple days
already
ago.
out.
Yeah.
So
Check it out.
Go stream
yeah,
it.
the song is out, but
It's out, and that song is so full of collaboration
Yeah.
in comparison to a lot of our other stuff, because it started as literally just piano, drums, and me goofing around kind of when I wrote it, and just kind of being like depressed and talking about, the lyrics are, you're not worth it. If anybody tells you different, you're lying. This is all me like telling myself that in a way.
yeah,
I was very unhappy at the time, and was trying to make light of that, I guess. And so now when we take this song, it turned into like a completely different thing, where it's me, like I say all that, but then I talk about how the band has like changed me, and how
yeah,
I came from this sad state and turned into, it's now like a positive thing, because I can look back at this and say that I didn't, quit. But the collaboration of Shoop and Dlos and our horn players doing this Earth, Wind, and Fire, Serpentine Fire,
Yeah, dude.
insane horn part, something that I would never have seen coming. And it's been insane. It really has.
It's just like those type of tunes is just an excuse for me to like practice some cool ass writing chops, like, oh, let me see if we can do this. And then we sit down and do it, and it comes to life, and it's like, oh my God, it's
Yeah.
so cool.
yeah,
It's such a cool feeling. That's, for me, the Bendre thing is like his music, because again, he is my best friend. It is an emotional thing for me to experience because of just life that we've lived together.
yeah,
But also it's like, oh man, I get to apply all these cool things that I was learning or didn't get to apply because I was in school having to do like big band
Yeah.
or something. Like I can be like, oh, I want to write a Earth, Wind, and Fire horn part that's like and we have it. And it's like,
hell yeah,
wow. And it's crazy. And we have such a incredible, I feel like I'm a celebrity saying this, but it's like we have such an incredible team of people
Yeah,
with
that's
us.
really crazy.
We can record at like this super high level because of John Quayant and Eugene. And we can write at high levels, and we can have players at high levels. Like before, I'd be like, oh, let me track this on my shitty baritone that I have, and then I'll just raise it up an octave or something. But no, it's like, oh my God, we have tenor sax, trombone, trumpet, doubled on lead trumpet, alto sax with Ben. It's just like our own Jerry Hay horn section.
Yeah.
And it's like super sick.
And everyone's excited to play, and they
Yeah.
want to. And
Yeah.
It's not like none of it feels forced. It always feels natural and
Right.
fun. And yeah, it's been a super
Yeah.
fun learning experience, and
Yeah.
figuring out what works, and doing a lot of work that doesn't ever see the light of day, and figuring out how to justify that in a learning experience, and not just being like, oh, we wasted time and effort on this.
Yeah.
It's all been for something, and it'll all be for something eventually.
That's what the message of the tune is. It's like,
Yeah.
it really is all for something.
yeah.
At the end of the day.
What did you appreciate about kind of like, I don't know, in some ways you like break the fourth wall by just kind of like talking into the mic about
Yeah.
your experience
Yeah.
and like, yeah. What did you enjoy about taking that time to show appreciation, but also, you kind of talk about how these these guys like saved your life in some way,
Yeah.
or
It was weird. I mean, it's something that like I think everybody should be more honest with their feelings and communicate, especially with the way things are nowadays, and just life. It's hard for a group of 6 or 8, 9 guys to like be honest about their feelings.
Yeah.
Still, but I know that I've never said any of these things to them personally, but I know I wanted them to hear it.
Yeah.
And I know I'll say it more in the future because I think I've learned from that experience that you got to say what you feel about people.
Say what you
'cause-
mean to say.
Yeah, say what you mean to say. Because life is short, and I've lost a lot of friends over the last few years, and so gaining friends, and I think it's just important to say how you feel. And it was kind of we always on stage would take that song, and it would be like, I'm just gonna introduce the band. Here's Eli on bass and Nate on drums.
Yeah.
And I was doing that, and I kept recording it, and we were gonna make this fun like Bootsy Collins, like me saying like, we got the Funkadelic drummer, just saying stuff. But then I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to take the mask off for a second and just say like, listen, when I wrote this song, I was depressed. I moved here and they changed it, and I've like, I just think I had to say it. If I didn't say it, I think it would have been more fake to try to be like, this is the funky band, and it's like, no, these are my friends, and this is the reason I'm here now,
Yeah. And that like community like really did fill you with with new life.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been insane.
Yeah, and like when I hear that, because we recorded that in my bedroom.
Yeah.
We recorded it on a mic like this, straight into the interface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just put it over the track. And to me, when I hear that, it's like pseudo creeping up on going to church moments. It's like the rise is starting to happen, and I just love at the end where he goes like, well, I'm not gonna make it stop anymore. Just like all this type of shit. And
you are worth it.
Yeah, and it was cool because we had this important message, but then we got to like put fun recording techniques over it. Like, I'm not gonna make it stop anymore. It's like stuff in the background that's like, oh. If I was at a live concert and this was happening in front of me, I would just be like, this is epic. This is like almost a religious thing to me in a spiritual sense. It's like, this is great.
That transformation is like happening in real time almost.
Yeah.
It's cool that it like came from that place and like turned into something positive. There's
if you don't listen to the whole song, you're gonna be depressed. But you gotta get through that bit and hear that it's worth it, and then you'll be like, okay, it was all made sense.
Yeah,
it's cool. There's I don't know if you guys are familiar with that Pearl Jam song "Alive," but in the Pearl Jam 20 documentary, Eddie Vedder like talks about how that song came from like such a heavy place. Like the premise of the song is him learning from his mother that the guy that he thought was his father wasn't his father.
Right, yeah.
And that the person that was his father has actually already passed away. And so like he's kind of processing through that song like, well, I've just learned all this and now I'm still alive to like deal with it. And then as that song grew and as the band's following grew into places where they were playing in arenas, he had like all of these 20,000 people singing back like I'm still alive, and it became like this positive thing for him. And it's just like
cool.
Such a fucking cool moment of, again, like something coming from like a heavy place, and that obviously like your song like transforms like through the song like in real time kind of like, so it transforms differently, but it's very cool when like something comes from maybe a dark or heavy place and it can become something positive or just change in general, like maybe not even going from bad to positive or vice versa, but just the power of that.
A lot of my songs come from a depressing place, it seems like. But it's a mix. I mean, it's changing. I have a better perspective now than I did when I was writing a lot of this stuff. So the next album will be a mix of reflection and, a deeper, a more processed look at, my experience, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of, time has told that that's where a lot of people go to like
Yeah.
process those things, and
Yeah.
it's not always like the happy moments that like cause us to sit down and reflect. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's like one of the reasons I connect to the music, but it's also like the way that you guys have found to deliver the music is also, I think, equally impactful. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been rad to sit down with you guys and talk about Bendre the Giant.
Yeah.
Dlos, I'm happy that you could be here to like help facilitate
Hey.
the conversation. I know Ben has expressed to me that you've been like a really huge part of bringing this music to life and
Yeah.
just like making the band kind of like happen and like pushing it. So
Yeah, he is the band manager for sure. The band dad.
yeah,
But
Well, the only thing I'll say to that is we have 4 other people.
yeah,
Yeah, 4 other people. I'm trying to think. Yeah, we have 4 other people that.
4 to 7.
yeah,
you know.
4 to 7 depending on the day.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, 4 other people that, you know, just kind of reflecting back, Ben's music emotionally touches me and it touched them, so it's like 4 other people that make it happen
yeah,
that we would not be sitting here. I don't even think we would feel okay enough to like DM you or talk to you or anything like that without these people.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, it's like, it's his music, it's our project, and we're just ingrained in it.
yeah,
And it means a lot. It's the first time in my life that I'm not a band leader, and I get to kind of just sit back and like do the thing, but still be just as ingrained as like a band leader would be.
Yeah.
You know? So that's super cool. But yeah, Eli Hansen, just
Nate
an amazing
Hansen,
person. Nate Hansen, amazing person. Formerly of the graduating class, me as well, with, you know, Dadweed guys, Keenan. We all
yeah,
played
yeah,
together.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Harris on sax, Avery Scanlon on guitar. They're the team, so
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
happen without them.
Cool.
Quick shout outs. We forgot to talk about this, but Ethos Music Fund.
Oh yeah,
we
yeah,
got
yeah.
Ethos, we got a grant from them, so I just wanted to say
Shout out
thank
to
you.
them.
And then also, we're going to be opening for Braxton Cook on December 6th. So,
At the Get Down.
so
December
to
6th.
yep,
Cool.
come out
Yeah.
to that.
I'll put I'll shout it out in the intro as well.
Sweet.
Just to let
Epic.
people know, and all the links will be in the episode notes, so you can keep up with Bendre the Giant. I just said that so
Bendre the
wrong.
Gint.
Bendre
Bonder.
Bendre the Giant.
Yeah.
I'll the singlet, dude. I'm gonna keep pushing for it. I hope to see it one day, whether it's in a photo,
It's gonna
whether it's
happen.
a live show.
We'll go home and do it right now.
Oh God, I'll send you
We're gonna
private
get you.
DMs.
You got to get the fucking knee high boots. Okay, full Andre the Giant. Just
and I'll mush
go
someone's face.
I wanted to
Look at
do.
the size of his hands.
Yeah, I wanted to do a set where you just talk like Andre the whole time. You're just like,
Was that a natural to feel this way?
or you perform in the ring.
That'd
That
be
would
Oh,
also
dude.
be really sick.
That would be
dude,
sick.
I could scoop slam you 100%. It's
That'd
all
be-
you. It's not me. You just got to hold on
Hell
to me
yeah.
and flip yourself.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
That'd be
man.
amazing. That'd be like when Hogan body
Dude.
slammed him.
Shave right here. I'll have the mustache.
So sick.
Yeah, dude.
Well, we're gonna play the episode out with "Make It Stop," the most recent tune from Bendre the Giant. I don't know why I've not had a difficult time saying Bendre the Giant until this
At
last
least
like
you didn't
1
say
minute.
Andre. We get that a lot.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
because
an-
of Andre, but it's like, yeah, but it's Ben. So.
Yeah,
it's
that
Ben.
just doesn't make sense. So, Bendre the Giant. Links are in the episode notes. Playing it out with "Make It Stop," and Ben. We end every episode of the podcast with the guest saying the tagline for the show, which is "It's a program." It means absolutely nothing. It's just the way my grandfather says the word program. When he's
Nice.
talking about the news program, whatever. So it's just a goofy way to end the show. You can deliver it however you like. It's the one time I'll ask you to look into that camera.
It's a program like that.
Yep.
Thanks for having us, Dan Cable. It's a program.
He nailed it, everybody. That's Brent. That's Ben. Dude, what the fuck is wrong with me?
That's Brent.
That's Brent. I said Bren, which is great, and that's how I keep saying Bendre the Giant.
It's a
for some
hard
reason.
name. It shouldn't be. But
We
It's a
had
really
a lot of
hard
trouble
name.
in Costco one time. We were just like Bendre the Giant.
Bendre the Giant.
Yeah,
It's
a horrible
Ben.
thing.
Dlos, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And that's the Jelly Jams, and we will catch you on the flip side, Portland, or wherever you are listening from. Cool. We did it.
Sick.
Sick.
Hell yeah.
Wake up. Just go back to bed. You're not worth it. You can quote pages from a book you never read. Waste your life. Waste your time. Whatever you do, just don't waste mine. Make music just to throw it away. Relationships, you can just throw them away. Put your life